This conference will now be recorded.
Perfect. And so you can distribute this to your agents or other people in your office. We've also done this where if you want your agents to kind of do the similar thing and allow them to ask questions in a webinar, that's also a possibility that we can do as well. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Perfect. So on my screen in front of me, this looks probably very familiar to you in terms of the quotes and how they're organized on our page. What you'll notice now is an Apply Now button next to the company. And if the agent wanted to go ahead and submit an application right on the system, they can just click this Apply Now. What it'll do, and I've already done it, what it'll do for the very first time when an agent gets out there when they click Apply Now is it'll ask them for their NPN and writing number. And that essentially allows the system to identify who that agent is.
Okay.
And so when they click Apply Now, it'll pull up a screen. I've already preloaded it for us like this. And every e-app has this select underwriting situation regardless of the company that you click on. And this is essentially saying, is this a fully underwritten plan? Is this an open enrollment plan? Or is this a guaranteed issue plan? And then their eligibility dates. And so we also provide some descriptions on here if they click this info tab of what we mean by fully underwritten, open enrollment, or guaranteed issue. If they were to select, say, guaranteed issue or open enrollment, and the system then determines based upon their Part B effective date or their age that it's not, it'll have them go back out here and select the proper one. So they can't submit an app that's not in good standing. So once they do that, it'll move them to a screen. The next page will look like this. And so now we've gone in and we've started the application. We take these application questions directly off the companies themselves. So nothing that is on the app, the paper app or existing app today would be missing from this. We're mapping this out based upon the existing app, and we update it in real time when they file or change applications. So on the right-hand side, it'll carry over information for us. So the plan, the gender, the age, the tobacco status, and then all the initial documents that will be required, like the outline of coverage, Medicare and you, anything that the company requires as initial documents are to be disclosed to the contact. They can be shown or emailed. They can enter in an email address if they'd rather just email the individual, say they were doing this over the phone. And then below that is our sections. These sections are organized the same way regardless of carrier, and that's really why we call this a universal application. Regardless of the company they click on, the look, the feel, and the sections of how they complete the app start to finish is the same. So they really only have to understand or know one application process, and they can do applications then for any carrier. Rather than Aetna's is different than Mutual's, Mutual's is different than Aetna's as it is today, and so forth. This kind of helps from a training and onboarding purpose. Along with these sections, you'll see a green checkbox that essentially notifies the agent, yes, this is completed in full. You can go ahead and move on to the other section. If there's a yellow exclamation point, that means there's items missing associated with that application or that section, and they have to go back in and fill out what they may be missing so that they're not submitting it and not in good standing. And so our sections are underwriting situation, which we just covered, applicant information. So this is the basic applicant, first and last name. We carry over the city and state and the zip code from the quote, their contact information, and so forth. That's applicant information. The next one is household discount and premium information. If they wanted to do two applications at the same time, they can, and this is where they'll enter it. They can press yes. They can fill up the applicant of the next person, and they can do applicant A and applicant B right on the same page. So they don't have to fill out two applications at once.
Okay.
Next section is Medicare information, pretty self-explanatory. As I'm sure you're aware, just entering in the Medicare information, Medicare number, Social Security number, basic Medicare information. This will carry over from the first section on the underwriting piece if they filled that out in full. But that's that next section of Medicare information. Previous or existing coverage is the next one. If they wanted to be able to provide, or the agent wants to be able to provide, if they select no, then it won't ask them, but if they start selecting yes, it'll ask follow-up questions based upon who they had coverage with in the past, and are you still covered under that plan and so forth. If they answer no, it'll just be the base questions that are on there.
Okay.
Health information, pretty self-explanatory. If it's guaranteed issue or open enrollment, this will not exist. So that section will not be on there. But we've built in all the logic associated with this app. So as they start answering yes to a few of these questions, you can see up in the right-hand corner, the rate is updating based upon, and that's based upon two factors. One is if they're moving into a different underwriting tier. So UnitedHealthcare is an example where they might bump them to a higher tier. That's what the system is doing, is double checking and making sure the rate doesn't need to be adjusted. Or if they enter like a height and weight and they're bumping them to a higher rate based upon those factors, it will adjust that accordingly. Because we answered yes on certain health questions, it also notifies the agent here. It says, hey, the applicant may not be issued coverage because you answered yes to at least one of the health questions. And when they switch to another slide, it'll also populate here on the page and let them know that, and here's the notification. So it notifies them two ways to make sure the agent is aware that it might not get issued due to that case.
Gotcha.
Medication information works the same way. If they entered in certain medications that are no longer valid, or not valid or not covered under that carrier, same concept. It'll let the agent know that, hey, you entered in Procrit for kidney dialysis or whatever the case may be, that's not covered, and we're not going to approve that app, assuming that they're not in their open enrollment status.
Okay.
The last section for the consumer is the method of payment, and we'll match to whatever method of payment that the company currently provides. So if they allow EFT and direct bill, we'll have that. If they also allow credit card, we'll allow for that. But we'll provide whatever payment method that they currently accept, or payment methods that they currently accept, which they can all do here on the screen. Maybe they want to do automatic bank withdrawal. The only way they could do check is if they're going to do it in person. All that logic's built in again, so that they can't do something that's not allowed. And they can search different financial institutions based upon the routing number. The system will go ahead and do that. So as soon as they type in a few numbers, it'll populate a certain bank associated with that routing number.
Okay.
So that's from a consumer standpoint. That's how those pieces work. We also have a to be completed by producer section, and this is where the agent can add in some different information associated with the tools. For example, if they needed to attach notes to underwriting, they needed to say a certain message to the underwriter that may be reviewing it. If they need to attach documents, that can range from a power of attorney to maybe they're losing their group coverage and that's why they're guaranteed issue, and therefore they need to attach that document or file. They can do those different attachments here, and they can also enter in, they want to split the commission. They want to enter in, yes, I've accurately recorded the application. All that type of information will be under this to be completed by a producer section. And then the last section here is the review and lock. And this essentially allows the applicant and or the agent to review the application to making sure that everything is in good standing. And so if they want to be able to understand what they've missed, or what they still need to complete, that's what this review and lock setting is. They cannot go to signature until the applicant is completely filled out the information. If they lock it and then go back in and unlock it and rechange it, and the signature has already occurred, they'll be able to they'll have to re-get the signature, and that's a compliance thing or a compliance deal with the companies. In terms of signature options, we really offer all the ones that the companies currently offer. So if they offer voice, we'll provide voice. If they have e-signature, we'll provide e-signature. They obviously can print out the fillable PDF and sign it that way, or they can drag, if they're there in person, they can drag the mouse and sign it and just validate it with their mother's maiden name and last four of the SOCH. And so that's the signature page, and so that's completing the app itself. Do you have any questions on that piece?
Sorry, I muted myself.
No, that's okay.
No, I think that makes sense. I mean, it
Sure.
seems pretty straightforward for the most part. You
Yeah.
just walk through the application. That's awesome.
Yeah. A couple other things. We also have after they submit this in, goes right into the company. Here is the applications piece, and I'll show you where you can get that. You'll notice on your dashboard now there's a button that says eApp. That's what this takes you to, and this just outlines everything that the company or everything they've submitted. The applicant name, the applicant information, the status, if it's incomplete, if it's pending signature, if it's been declined, or if it's been submitted, it'll provide a policy number for the applicant and the agent. So if they needed to contact the carrier, they can reference that application number, and then they can always go back in and edit any applications that they've done prior, delete it out, or search it if they have a ton of apps in here. You'll notice that here, right here, that's the view applications. So that's where that's located in. Kind of where we're going for the future. We're releasing Medicare Advantage here this month to allow for Medicare Advantage enrollments as well. So you'll be able to do both MedSup and Medicare Advantage. We'll also be releasing here soon hospital indemnity and dental. So that'll be released here up. So you'll be able to do, we really view this as a cross-product, cross-enrollment tool. And with that, kind of tying it all together, how do you kind of tie each piece together rather than quoting and then enrolling and then going over and quoting and then enrolling? We now have this cart option available, and I have a mock-up demo of this. We plan on releasing this in May. This is kind of or what we're going to call our cart option. So again, you go out here, run a quote for a MedSup. Here's our Mutual of Omaha MedSup plan. You can click apply now, just as we did on the demo previously, to go ahead and enroll in that plan. Or say I want to do this with a dental plan, or say I want to do the Medicare Advantage with an HI plan, or whatever different combination you want to do. Rather than clicking apply now, I can click select. It's now created my cart. I can then switch over and say I want to run a dental plan. Run the dental. Here's my dental now. I can click apply now and just apply for that dental plan just as we did before, or I can also press select on this dental plan. It's now in my cart. I've now got my MedSup and my dental. I can click start application, and now I do one app for both product lines. So it really helps cross-selling, cross-quoting, and multi-enrollment right on the same system. So that's really how we're going to tie it all together in terms of quoting and enrollment.
Great.
And again, that'll be out in May. And so you'll be able to kind of do those pieces as well as a part of this eApp system.
Now, I was going to ask, I know you had mentioned to me before that MedSup, you guys are hopefully rolling out some more carriers soon. Do you have an ETA or what carriers those are?
They won't give me an exact ETA, and I think the reason that they won't is that we're somewhat at liberty of the carrier. The carriers want to kind of have a say on when stuff goes live. Those carriers, and I think you gave me the rundown, that includes Humana, United Healthcare, Cigna, Anthem, some of the other Blues, GTL, a bunch of other carriers. I do hope by the time we get this cart option out that we'll have a bunch more carriers on the tool. But I'm hoping that I'll have more lockdown or firm numbers or dates of when stuff will be released by the end of this month.
Okay. And then hospital indemnity and all that same thing?
Yep, correct. Yeah. The hospital indemnity and dental stuff should be live this month along with the MA.
Oh, okay. And you don't know the MA carrier still?
It's going to be, they won't let us say who, but it's going to be some of the major ones. We're kind of starting with the bigger ones and working our way down. Similar to the MedSup, why we started with that in a mutual is just because they're larger carriers that accept a lot of applications, and most agents are appointed with both or one or the other.
Gotcha. Okay.
The plan is to have every carrier on here. That's the plan, or every carrier that company that agents care about, and that makes the tool extremely valuable because they never have to leave the tool to do both enrollment and quoting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you as an admin can go into your admin portal account, and I can send you documentation on how to do this. You can run reports on the eApp. So if you wanted to know for this week what agents submitted enrollments and who were they for and what company were they for, you'd have the ability to do that to kind of manage your people.
Okay. So I was messing around with this a little bit when you set it up, and I was just acting like I was going to write a supplemental policy.
Sure.
And when I clicked it, it was asking for appointment info, and it took me to a page putting in my NPN number.
Yep.
And like every time I did it, it just said it could not find me or something like that. So what's the process there?
Sure. So at any point in time, if an agent gets stuck or in a loop or has questions, they can click this Contact Now button on your tool. And let me go back here and do it. There's a contact support button here. Any point in time, and if an agent has questions on anything, not just the EF, but anything, they can click that contact support button, and they'll get help pretty much instantaneously.
Okay. So, but typically it's pretty easy if you just put your NPN number.
Yeah, and we hit that in real time. Yeah, we hit that in real time against Aetna's or Mutual's system or whichever company that essentially is validating, yes, this agent is properly appointed with us to sell MedSup, and B, they're properly appointed us to sell MedSup in that state that they clicked on.
Okay. Gotcha.
We have some agents that will go, they normally do business in Illinois, and then they try to do an Ohio app, and it'll kick them back out saying that they're not properly appointed, and that doesn't mean that they're not properly appointed with Aetna. It's just that they're not appointed in the state they're trying to do it for.
Makes sense. Okay. Okay. Well, that's easy enough for now.
Yeah. So like I said, let me know if any of your agents would like to do a webinar where they can ask questions. That's certainly a possibility.
Okay. Well, that seems fairly easy, so that's great stuff. Good
deal. And so let me know if you have any other questions, and if not, have a good one. I'll send this recording over to you so you have that as well.
Okay. No, I think that's it for now. Thank you.
Perfect. You have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.